has been on my 124 SNS. Let's check it out. What's going on, YouTube? FXDLS Brooklyn is back in the building. And one of the comments I've been getting since running this hot rod motor is a good comment, because you know that this has always been my road bike. This has always been my touring bike. You know, now it's also my show bike. This bike wears a lot of hats. It's also my hot rod. And a lot of you have asked, you know, now that you've thrown in that motor, what has mileage looked like? What does fuel economy look like? And I've hesitated to answer that question because I had not gotten it dyno tuned yet, so I did not want to say exactly where it was at. So what I will say is it surprised me in the beginning, because what I noticed is riding the bike similar to how I'm riding right now, you know, obviously like not beating on it too hard, keeping the RPMs around 3,000 or whatever. Doing that, surprisingly, I was actually getting mileage that was comparable to what I was getting out of my 110. Now, mind you, I rode that 110 really hard almost all the time, where typically I would have that bike sitting anywhere between 3,500 and 4,000 RPMs, assuming I was not on a bike trip. So I ran that bike really hard. And yeah, I would say that running this bike realistically, even without the dyno tune, I actually noticed that I was getting mileage that was comparable to what I was getting on my 110, which I could not believe. It just didn't make any sense for the amount of extra power that I was getting, the amount of power that this motor was producing, the amount of sound that this motor was producing. Yeah, I mean, that was surprising. So now after the dyno tune, I would say, yeah, still running the thing realistically, you know, not beating on it. I got maybe a little bit more, right? So I could push it a little bit further than where it was at. But, you know, my frame of reference is, you know, like where we like to camp up in the Catskills, right? And from Brooklyn up to where we camp, it's a solid 120 miles, and the first leg of that trip is always battling traffic, you know, so you're always going to be losing some miles from that. And I was always able to do that trip on my 110, stretching out one tank, but always able to do it on one tank. And that was my frame of reference that I was using to see what was really going on, is if I could do that same trip, you know, getting through the New York City traffic, etc., and then do it over 100 miles. And yeah, I was able to do it. So if you're someone who's in my shoes, where you plan on doing the bike trips, you plan on going far, and fuel economy is an important part of that, I would say that I really didn't lose much, even without the dyno tune. You know, running this amount of power, I didn't really lose that much, right? Now again, the thing to, being honest about it, the thing to take into consideration is, yeah, I've rode both of those motors very differently, you know? But yeah, didn't really notice that big of a difference. And I mean, the other thing is, if you have your bike professionally dyno tuned, as I did, you know, we had Mike the dyno colleges out in Long Island tune this thing. If I am doing the road trips and I am concerned about fuel economy, I can actually bring it to him and I can have him adjust the tune to get, say, 5 to 8 more miles per gallon, which is a huge difference. But I'd be kind of hesitant to do that, because even on the road trips, like, I still like to have my performance, I still like to have my power. But yeah, you know, riding it the way I've been riding the RPMs fairly realistically. I've been getting really good mileage out of this current motor. Which, you know, we're making this video in 2022, so with the price of gas right now, you want to be getting all your mileage you can.